Hi students, welcome to lesson number 49, Mahatma Gandhi, Ethics and Integrity. After completion of this lesson, you will be able to understand Gandhi's major works, Ethics of Gandhi, Foundations of Gandhian Administrative Thought, a comparison with other thinkers, a critical evaluation. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, upon whom the people of India bestowed the title Mahatma and whom they regard the father of the nation, is considered one of the giants of the 20th century, who left an indelible mark on the social, economic and political forces of the day. It is universally recognized that he is one of the greatest peaceful revolutionaries that the world has ever seen. Gandhi is not a systematic philosopher of the academic field or a sophisticated administrative theorizer, but certainly he has laid stress on some basic principles of the reconstruction of society and politics and public management. It is in this sense that he can be regarded as a moral, social, political and administrative thinker. He has written on various subjects such as religion, philosophy, ethics, economics, politics and administration, and that is why many people consider him as an extraordinary paradox. In highlighting Gandhi's ideas and contributions, it may be mentioned here that he has highly influenced by Western thinkers such as Plato, Aristotle, Ruskin, Tolstoy and the great spiritual leaders like Buddha, Ramakrishna Paramhansa, Vivekananda, as well as the philosophy contained in the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishad and the Ramayana. Hence, Gandhi's thoughts combined influences from the West as well as the East, traditional as well as modern ideals and individualism as well as collectivism. Constructive program, its meaning and place. Hindu Dharma, basic education, an autobiography or the story of my experiments with truth, Hind Swaraj or Indian Home Rule, non-violent way to world peace, village industries, theory of trusteeship. Ethics of Gandhi. Non-violence. Mahatma Gandhi says that non-violence means to keep oneself completely away from such action which may hurt others physically or mentally. Violence is a behavior involving physical force intending to hurting, damaging or killing. Non-violence is to bear distress by oneself to make others happy. Non-violence is the most effective means to fight against discrimination and falsehood. Non-violence is not the outward strength. Non-violence is the internal power. Truth. Mahatma Gandhi says that truth is the law of our being. Truth and non-violence are as old as the hills. Truth is in fact self-revealing, but we have become blind on account of our ignorance. Ignorance, according to Mahatma Gandhi, is not necessary or natural to the self. Mahatma Gandhi says that moral degradation or perversion of one kind or causes ignorance. He explicitly mentions the 6 deadly enemies, that is desire, anger, greed, attachment, pride and jealousy, which cause prejudice, malice and ill will to arise, on account of which the person is unable to see or feel the truth. Therefore, in order to practice truth, one must constantly endeavor to oneself from these evils. One must cultivate moral purity and courage and must not allow these enemies to cloud his vision. Non-stealing. Mahatma Gandhi says that non-stealing is not to steal. Non-stealing is not to take by thought, word and action anything which one is not entitled. There are two senses of the word non-stealing. It popularly means the observance of the rule of not taking away the belonging or the property of anybody unless it is given by that person. But there is a more rigorous meaning of the word non-stealing. It forbids the keeping or holding in possession of such things that are not needed. Mahatma Gandhi uses the non-stealing in both these senses. Non-possessiveness. Mahatma Gandhi says that non-possessiveness is renunciation of possessions by thought, word and deed. Non-possessiveness is restricted to contentment. Non-possessiveness is non-acceptance. Possessiveness is unwilling to share one's possessions. Mahatma Gandhi feels that the tendency to possess things is the cause of all evils. Therefore, one must cultivate the discipline of living with what one has. Character. Mahatma Gandhi expresses that character is moral and ethical strength. Character comes from within. Character is the key to success. A man of character will make himself worthy of any position he is given. Character, not brains, will count at the crucial moment. Character is any day more eloquent than speech. Character must be above suspicion and truthful and self-controlled. An understanding of Gandhi's ideas about administration requires some knowledge of his principles and ideals which he cherished. Gandhi's ideas are based on religious, psychological, ethical and economical foundations. Now let us have a look at religious foundation. Gandhi was deeply influenced by the traditional religious culture of India, and the Bhagavad Gita and the Bible loomed large in his life. He believed in the philosophy of Vedanta contained in Upanishads. He was a firm believer in Bhagavad Gita. Hence, his thoughts are based on religious scriptures. He equated God with truth, believing that there was no religion higher than truth. Besides truth and non-violence as two important pillars, he regarded karma yoga and morality as guiding principles. He says, action is my domain. What I understood according to my rights to be my duty, and what comes my way, I do. Gandhi's concept of religion is somewhat akin to Matthew Arnold's view of religion as morality suffused with emotion. He was deeply devoted to the sense of self-realization through a moral life and service of the people. Psychological foundation. For Gandhi, the real individual Atma is an immortal spiritual entity. Hence, man can be said to be a divine spark and not a mirror, mechanical and organic aggregation of physical and chemical forces. The individual conceived in moral and spiritual terms is of supreme importance in Gandhian thought. Ethical foundation. Ethical influence also shaped Gandhi's administrative thinking. Gandhi and thought may be regarded as ethical absolutism or ethical institutionalism. He believed that human life is guided by a set of principles and that moral considerations are superior to material advantages. He thought that through a life of karma yoga, freedom could be won. He believed in the idea of moralization of social and political action by incorporating into society and politics the values of love, justice in place of the desire for power and glory. Economic foundation. As a national leader, he could not help in noticing the terrible poverty which was the lot of the overwhelming majority of Indian masses. For Gandhi, the malady of modern civilization is fundamental psychological because there is an ever expanding quest for commodities and the greed for accumulation of wealth and power. He regarded economics as a moral science instead of a neo-positive and analytical science. He believed in the principle of plain living and high thinking. He condemned the monster god of materialism, which is more or less the foundation of most of social sciences. He criticized the pervasive economic exploitation engineered by capitalism, but unlike the positivistic school of economics, he stressed upon the psychological roots of exploitation. Gandhi was for the progressive withering away of the state. He said, the state level is not the cause of but effect of social evil. As non-violence, decentralization and simple lifestyle progressed, the state would begin to wither away. Gandhi was opposed to the nation state for its being an organ of the centralized power structure. He says centralization as a system is inconsistent with the non-violent structure of society. He is critical of the nation state and communist society as well as a capitalist society. He uploaded the ideal of socialization of property but was critical of violence. He even predicted the end of the Soviet region as early as 1928. The modern state has given rise to bureaucracy, which is the instrument through which the state exercises power. Gandhi says, I look upon an increase of the power of the state with the greatest fear, because all the while apparently doing good by minimizing exploitation, it does the greatest harm to mankind by destroying individuality, which lies at the root of all progress. He says that state is perfect and non-violent where the people are governed the least. Strictly speaking, Gandhi was against capitalization and westernization. He believed that democracy had in it three contradictions: imperialism, racialism, and capitalism. He said, European democracies are to my mind a negation of democracy. He believed in a democratic government where individual liberty and freedom of opinion and action would be protected, respected, and converted. Gandhi's theory of conversion of the minority is a great antithesis to Rousseau's theory of general will. According to Gandhi, a truly democratic government derives its justification from its readiness to respond to public opinion because supreme political power rests with the people. Public opinion is the basis of democratic governance. He recognized that legislation in advance of public opinion has often been demonstrated to be futile. Like Plato, Gandhi wanted the members of the governing group to lead a simple life. The governors and administrators must be content with being the servants of the nation, and their status and prestige should be based not upon the acquisition of power and wealth, but upon devotion to a noble cause. He wanted even members of the top administrative cadre to lead a simple and serviceable life. Gandhi laid emphasis on self-rule or Swaraj. He uses this term Swaraj in a broad sense to include the true developments of individuals and his society. It means self-restraint for the individual and freedom from foreign domination for the country. Although in the Hind Swaraj, Gandhi was opposed to the pattern of functioning of the British Parliament. He suggested for India a parliamentary government based on universal suffrage. His conceptions of Swaraj meant a government based on the consent of the people, which was to be determined by the largest number of adult population. Gandhi believed that military force is a dangerous antithesis to the free growth of the soul, and hence it will be a poor democracy that depends for its existence on military assistance. To him, there is a radical incompatibility between the evaluation of democracy and the dependence upon the police and the army. Therefore, a true democracy must cease to rely on the army. Gandhi wanted to present the model of real village government to depict his ideal of a perfect democracy based on individual freedom and at the same time on collective and cooperative action. Gandhi was opposed to a centralized economy and to machines resulting in mass production. Gandhi also believed in planning as an element of administration. Gandhi maintained that in order to put independent India on the right path to strive for his ideal state where all were cared for and maximum happiness prevailed for the society as a whole, the country needed political, economic and moral independence, economic reorganization and social reformation. He emphasized the importance of planning at the village level and even went to the extent of declaring that if villages perish, India will perish too. He believed in decentralized planning, where the modern concept of planning refers to economic planning. Gandhi's concept of planning focused on the overall balanced development of society. He believed in decentralization and operation of cottage industries, opposing the idea of increasing centralization and mass production. He planned a constructive program in 18 measures so as to constitute a greater Republic of India through 7 lakh villages. For the implementation of these plans and programs, he proposed the disbanding of Congress organization and its reconstruction into a Lok Seva Sangh. It was his deep belief that an efficient administration can be secured through proper planning and development of villages. Gandhi emphasized the importance of the trusteeship economy. Ownership, to the extent it made for exploitation, was not consistent with the doctrine of non-violence. Expropriation of private property or its nationalization, and Gandhi's views, was a violent remedy and would only serve to perpetuate further violence. Gandhi was aware of the Western dilemma between capitalism and communism. If modern means of production remain in private hands, these lead to a concentration of wealth and power in few hands. On the other hand, if these means pass primarily into the hands of the state, the demon of dictatorship raises its head. Gandhi therefore visualized a decentralized and broadly autonomous economic order, with the smaller units in the private hands and the larger ones owned and managed by cooperative communities. Thus, he offers his theory of trusteeship as an alternative to both capitalism and communism. Gandhi's trusteeship does not recognize hereditary inheritance of property. He visualizes a transition or transformation from individual ownership to community. For Gandhi, trusteeship involves the building of consensus of a society for implementing it for social good. Through trusteeship, Gandhi wanted to establish an equitable economic order through a proper scheme of distribution of the accumulated wealth to all members of the society. In his view, the institution of trusteeship was primarily to provide an opportunity to capitalists and landlords in whose hands a huge quantum of the wealth of the society accumulated to voluntarily transfer their wealth of the society accumulated to voluntarily transfer their wealth to the society. The capitalists were expected to act as trustees along with other representatives of the society. Thus, according to Gandhi, the economy in the ideal society would function through the mechanism of cooperation. However, this cooperation is based on the principle of non-violence. Gandhi also says voluntary cooperation will produce real freedom and a new order vastly superior to the new order in Soviet Russia. Gandhi may not be regarded as a system builder in the academic sense of the term, but certainly his ideas are of great value to both academics and practitioners. His concepts and views are still relevant to the modern India. However, it is essential to make a comparative study of his ideas. Gandhi, like Machiavelli, Marx and others, did not separate religion from politics, but attempted to provide a synthesis of the two. Machiavelli regarded human nature as egoistic and distinguished morality from politics. In the same way, Marx, being influenced by Darwin's ideas of the biological evolution of human life, took the mechanistic view of human life. But Gandhi's conviction is that politics devoid of religion is a death trap because it kills the soul. Further, the idealistic character of both Gandhism and Marxism is pertinent in their anarchist philosophy. Gandhi mourned the loss of morality, humanity, creativity and freedom due to capitalist encroachment. Marx revolted against capitalism and propounded a fourfold alienation. Both, however, differ on certain grounds, for example, their techniques of action. While Gandhi emphasized holy life and ashrama for training in constructive program, Marx, on the other hand, stressed class solidarity and the propaganda of communist ideology. Thus, we find that at many places their ideas and theories join hands. Both Plato and Gandhi have an integral comprehensive approach to the problems of man and society. Plato in the Republic and the Laws discuss political, economic, moral and administrative problems. Gandhi is also concerned with all dimensions of human problems. Plato's theme, the theory of philosopher-ruler, may to some extent be compared to the Gandhian nation of Rama Rajya. There is no doubt that the rule of philosophers would demand the necessary existence of a reformed political system. Gandhi was also totally opposed to the Hegelian and Austinian concepts of law and sovereignty, positive law and the sovereign political structure, owing to their emphasis on violence, authoritarian dictates and compulsive commands do not help the genuine realization of individual rights. Gandhi's conscience revolted against the absolute and illegitimate power of the state, as he felt that it attacked the moral fiber of civilization. Against the absolutist doctrines and concepts of Hobbes, Austin and Hegel, Gandhi appeared as the spokesman of moral sovereignty. Gandhi's concepts and ideas could also be compared with those of Lenin. Both Gandhi and Lenin were strictly against bureaucratization, which was spreading in all organizations. Gandhi, like Lenin, believed that the whole of the population was to learn the art of administration and participate in it, both for the sake of bringing about revolution worked through organizations. But Lenin, unlike Gandhi, had a soft corner for violence, whereas Gandhi propounded the setup of the country in the form of small and many village republics and also favored political decentralization. Lenin was in favor of the management of industry by a vast administrative setup. Of course, the ideas of both converge as far as administrative setup on socialist ideas and equality are concerned. There is also a considerable similarity between some administrative ideas of Gandhi and Simon. Simon's concept of rationality in organizational setup seems to match Gandhi's ideal setup. Both do not come out with principles for organization functioning, but strive for perfection. Gandhi goes for equality and for fulfilling human needs, and Simon proposes a satisfying model for administrative man. However, Simon, like Weber, is a staunch follower of bureaucratic formalism and consequently favors capitalism, which is just contrary to Gandhi's conceptualization. Thus, Gandhi's concept and views in a stable state, though not completely and systematically presented and matched with inconsistence at places, may be compared with many political and administrative thinkers of the West. Like other administrative thinkers, Gandhi has been criticized for his ideas. He has presented a picture of an ideal society which is impracticable. It seems that Gandhi has not taken the trouble of developing the idea of a decentralized, non-industrial, non-violent and self-sufficient free society into a political, tenable, hierarchical system. He has never entered into a discussion regarding the problems of relationship between one village and another, and the problems of political and economic adjustment and coordination from lowest unit of the organization to the highest center of political authority, where sovereignty resides. He is nearly presenting a picture of village administration in which there is perfect democracy based on individual freedom and non-violence. Gandhi advocates the establishment of a republic of every village in India. The problems of communication, coordination, settlement of grievances and so on in each republic pose many other problems. In fairness to Gandhi, it may be said, however, that as a prophet, he was concerned with the stressing some profound insights. Gandhi has argued that the individual is always free to resist the tyranny of society through satyagraha. This is certainly a very good idea, provided it could be shown that satyagraha is in such a universal panacea as it is claimed to be. But it has a number of limitations and can by no means be regarded as a universal remedy against injustice under all circumstances. The Gandhian concept of satyagraha would therefore seem to be predicated on facts, not shown in evidence. In Gandhi's village society and administration, there would be very little scope for expression of placatory or even intellectual genius of man. Such village administration may be consistent with Gandhi's own conception of freedom, but in reality, they cannot be the suppression of the creative urge of the man, which is obviously an indispensable element of human freedom. Gandhi is opposed to the concentration of power in the hands of the state and favors decentralization of power. But at the same time, he fails to offer a concrete and workable scheme of organization and administration. Gandhi's theory of trusteeship also could not get liquid support. Gandhi in his lifetime persuaded the capitalist class to act as trusteeship of the people. It has been said that Gandhiji was rather disillusioned in the end and held that his capitalist friends could never become the trustees of the people. The capitalists went to him for their own purposes mostly, but Gandhiji could not turn the heart of even one capitalist. Further, political commentators have criticized Gandhi's trusteeship theory on the ground that it had the forces of revolutionary change in the economic sphere. As a system of administrative thought, it may be summarized that Gandhism represents various intellectual thinking and a process of synthesis. He was deeply influenced by ideas contained in scriptures such as the New Testament, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Upanishad. Like Plato, Tolstoy, and Dayanand, Gandhi revolted against the evils of present civilization. Like Marx and Lenin, Gandhi was completely opposed to the social and economic exploitation of the poor. Like Spencer and other individuals, Gandhiji did not trust the action of the government, and like Lasky, he vindicated the right of resistance against unjustified state authority. He preached the realization of the common goal of all as advocated by Graham Greene and Wallace. Similarly, his philosophy of Sarvodaya is partly based on Ruskin's unto this last. Hence, it can be said that Gandhi's fusion of the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and Buddhism combined with the teachings of the Bible. Tolstoy and Ruskin represents a cultural synthesis of the East and the West. When the whole world is caught up in the arms race and heading towards nuclear disaster, it is necessary on part of India to practice Gandhian philosophy, promote peace in the vicinity and other regions by adopting Gandhi's speech, full and non-violent methods, and create international brotherhood through Gandhi's dream of the Ramarajya. Mahatma Gandhi was one of the greatest political icons ever. Most remarkably, Indians cherish by describing him as the father of the nation. His name will certainly remain enduring for all generations coming. His philosophy of nonviolence is probably his most important contribution. In a time of deepening crisis in the underdeveloped world, of social dejection in affluent societies, of the shadow of unrestrained technology and the precarious peace of nuclear terror, it seems likely that Gandhi's ideas and techniques will become increasingly relevant. Thank you.